What's up, everybody? Bootsy Greenwood here, and I am breaking down transurfing chapter by chapter. We are on the goals and doors chapter. So chapter 10, a goal, very self-explanatory, is what you want. You want a lifestyle, you want to live a certain way, probably more so than you want particular things, but whatever it is that your heart wants. It's toy, so to speak, right, in the narrative. So our doors are going to be the things that lead us there. So we'll get to that in just a second. Let's talk a little bit about the goals. So the first things first, and this is great news for everybody, right? There's a lifeline in the alternative space that matches every individual's frail perfectly. So remember, we talked a little bit about the frail being the shape of your soul. We talked a little bit about the water droplet analogy. I just love that analogy. But let's just say that that is the shape of your soul, and there is a goal that matches it perfectly, right? It's a custom order. Nobody can take it from you. It specifically belongs to you, okay? So we want to find our goal, and that's going to open up our pathway once we walk through our door. Once we find our goal, we're going to look for our door. We're going to go through that door, and that's going to lead us down the path to our goal. Now, here's where things get interesting. And I can relate to this a lot. Now, most goals that we have ever accomplished in our life, whatever that was, in the past, we've been usually disappointed by that goal, right? It's like you work really hard. It's like I started a business, right? I started this business. I was like, oh, yay, I'm an entrepreneur, all this stuff. It's great. Started this business. And then once I finished it, I was like, well, that's cool and all, I guess. But now that I've done it, I'm just kind of like already over it. It's like you don't want to build a bear that eats you, and that often happens to people. They'll get a goal in mind. They'll have an idea. They'll want to start a business. And they build this thing, and it winds up just consuming them. It just winds up just taking all their energy. It winds up becoming a destructive pendulum and not lighting them up, right? So we can probably look back on our lives and at least see a couple of examples of this, right? When you reach a goal that you've been working for, but maybe necessarily isn't exactly yours, but is probably a pendulum, a shiny thing. There's lots of shiny things out there. They look great. We want those, and they look good when we have them. It's like having that pretty girlfriend that everybody else thinks is cute, but she doesn't really necessarily jive with you. It's not really the person that you want to be with, really, but you're just doing this. It's like keeping up with the Joneses. You're just doing this just because, you look. It makes you look better. It's completely the wrong reason to go after something, but we all do it, right? So happiness is found on the journey, okay? When we do when we do identify our goal and we walk through our door, we're not there to our goal yet. There's still plenty to do along that path, but we're going to enjoy doing that path. It's not going to be about the goal. That's a really good way to know, like, oh my gosh, like, I'm going to baseball practice and I just love baseball practice, and going to do that thing over and over again, whatever it is, if it's creative writing or a workshop or whatever. Whenever you're on the path to your goal, you're going to really enjoy all the things that lead up to it. It's going to make your life a celebration, right? It's going to be the best. You're just going to, like, all of a sudden you're going to be like, oh my God, now, even though I've got to do all this stuff, I just enjoy all these processes a lot more because they're along my path. They're specifically for me. So when we're asking ourselves about this goal, this particular goal, and remember to take your time with this. This is not something that you need to make a snap judgment on, a snap decision. But when we're asking ourselves if this is the goal for us or not, ask yourself if you like wanting the goal, or if it truly is something that your heart desires, that you want to intend for and you want to accomplish and get on the path to. Okay, so there's going to be a couple of different things going on. Let's talk a little bit about discomfort versus the heart saying no. Sometimes when we set out on our goal, we're not going to be super comfortable. We're not going to feel like we have our feet underneath of us. We're not going to feel like we belong. we're going to have a lot of interesting adaptations to kind of go through as a result of, hammering this path out. Now, sometimes the heart says no, and the heart, remember, it's binary. It feels and knows. It's either yes or no on this. It's determined. The mind thinks and speaks. The heart feels and knows. And so what the mind needs to do is pay attention to the heart in order to try to identify the goal. And listen to the rustle of the morning stars. If you feel discomfort, that's okay. Discomfort is something that through expanding your comfort zone by doing things as well as using slides and changing your programming, you can convince yourself, right? We were talking a little bit about the person who is staring at the window and isn't ready to eat. Going into an expensive shop, for instance, trying things on, learning to be there. If it's wealth you need to get used to being around. I felt like that a long time ago where I just didn't feel like I belonged in this super nice place. Like we were in Vail one time, the ski resort, and we were skiing Vail, and I was like a West Virginia raft guide or whatever, and we're just sleeping on my friend Lifty's floor. And the whole time I was there, I just felt like somebody was gonna tap me on the shoulder and be like, dude, you gotta go. I didn't feel like I belonged, right? So whatever that means. I mean, if you need to go and take a test drive in a luxury car or go to a really nice shop, try some things on, just learn to feel like you belong in that place, wherever that is, right? And that's a great thing to do. Other than going out and doing the experience, go home and visualize and feel all of that, right? Learn to love yourself. You can't find your goal really until you have accepted yourself for who you are. It would be impossible. That's putting the cart before the horse, right? If you don't know who you are, if you haven't discovered yourself yet, then it's going to be almost impossible to identify your goal because you don't understand you. So take your time and start to develop that and start to listen to your heart and focus on who you are, whatever you need to do to just sort of allow yourself to open and be attentive and aware to your heart. Whatever your goal is, a lot of people want to do things that are great for others, and that's fantastic. But if it's a win-lose or a lose-win, then that's not your goal. Your goal should benefit you as well as others, and it can't really go one way or the other, right? Like that's a false goal if it goes one way or the other. If it benefits a bunch of others but not you, and you don't get fulfillment out of it, then that's not right. And if you're the only one who gets fulfillment out of it, then that is not your goal either, right? Or at least it's not the one that fits the frail of your heart, your soul perfectly, right? No goals are reached by obvious means. Whenever we visualize, remember, we are visualizing the process, but we're letting go of it because those variables are going to come about of their own accord. Different scenarios pop up, and it turns out that not I made it, that not the force, not the slapping our hands about the water, but remember, we're sliding down the stream and just paddling over to the next little area that we need to go to. Be aware of importance during this process. That is the biggest thing that can get in your way. When you do find that goal, you're going to be probably excited about it, and you're going to want to talk to people about it and tell your friends and have these big imaginations about it. Hey, if you can't help it, you can't help it. And you allow yourself to just go through that process, and eventually it won't feel foreign to you anymore. Once you visualize it a bunch of times and you get it in your head that, it's the thing. And eventually he says the slide will deteriorate and you'll actually just walk into the slide. So this happens through a little bit of a lengthy siege process, but you use intention, which is desire and action, to go toward your goal. And then you take those necessary steps toward your goal. You use your mind to do things to help you get to your goal, right? Whatever that is. So if you want to be a comic, then you need to go and go do stand-up comedy. You don't just sit at home and visualize it. The visualization is a huge part, but it's definitely not all, right? It's half the picture. We're using our brains and our hearts. We're using our minds and our souls here to accomplish our goal. So remember, the heart feels and knows. The mind can only make new things out of old structures, old bricks, right? And our heart is the key to our door that will put us on the path to our goal. And we know that we've gone through our door and onto our path because it makes our life a celebration. We're just happy to do the things that are required of us now. Like, it's actually fun to book this thing, to write this bio, or whatever little thing you need to do. Remember, what will make your life a celebration? And don't be in a rush about this. Enjoy getting to know yourself. Enjoy who you are on the inside and discovering that and finding the shape of your soul, your frail, and experiencing and expressing that and allowing yourself to be who you are on your way to identifying your goal. And then once you have understood who you are and identified your goal, you walk through your door and the path will be lit up and the signs will be relatively obvious. So you just take one step and the next step and continue to visualize and use slides, expanding the comfort zone. But remember, if the heart says no, it's very obvious. The heart says no, it is a no. And it's not your goal, so give it up. Go to the next thing. So many shiny things out there. It's real easy to get distracted. It's real easy to get lost. Cut yourself some slack, relax, drop importance, get out there and enjoy it. Thanks so much. Check me out on gumroad.com/BootsyGreenwood. I am also on Patreon, or Patreon, depending on how you pronounce it. That is also /BootsyGreenwood. And then I'm at Bootsy Greenwood all over the place. Thanks everybody for watching this video, and we'll see you next time.